No, it couldn't be. Couldn't possibly be. It's really difficult to pull off a 4 or 5 team trade. It's really difficult to move somebody with a no trade clause. Who would have thought that? Welcome back in the lunch break, KDUSA M1060. We appreciate you being here. And it looks like after all the talk yesterday, Jimmy Butler trade, Bradley Beal off to Milwaukee, a 4-team trade that had the Heat involved and the Suns and the Bucks and the Bulls and Zach LaVine and then a 5th team and just all of that. Feels like we've hit a little bit of a road bump. What could that road bump be? You don't need to listen to me. How about you listen to Chris Haynes?
Chris Haynes with another Haynes brief for you today. Contrary to popular belief, I was just informed that the Milwaukee Bucks have not inquired about Phoenix Suns star Bradley Beal. In fact, it was explained to me that a connection between the two is non-existent. So if Phoenix is able to acquire Jimmy Butler, it would not come via the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the star guard.
No, wait a minute. I thought this was done. I thought we were just crossing T's, dotting I's. This is why we have said from the get-go. We might need to pull the audio from like November when we first started talking about this, or December. And I have been on record. Now, I've changed my tune just because of how long we've been at this. It's one of those things I've just been worn down over time. But if you remember when these rumors first started, what did I say? I looked into this camera, into this microphone, and I told all of you, it's not happening. There's too many hurdles. There's a no trade clause involved. You have to find a place that that Bradley Beal wants to go to, and 2, a team that wants to take on Bradley Beal. And everybody's been pointing at Milwaukee. Oh, they're the team. They're the team. Doesn't look like they're the team anymore. Now, you have other reports that are calling this report from Chris Haynes untrue and that Milwaukee might just be posturing, trying to get more out of a draft, in terms of draft picks in a trade. Who knows? Who knows at this point? What is a smokescreen? What is real? Who knows at this point? We are in the deep waters of this Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler saga. So anything is possible. Anything could be on the table. But the beautiful thing about sports talk radio is we get to play these hypotheticals out. So let's go on this journey together, everybody. Let's take everything at face value. There is a non-existent link between Bradley Beal and the Milwaukee Bucks. So let's play that out for a second. Let's take that completely off the table. Milwaukee is not in play. Where are we going? Who are we trading Bradley Beal to? Is there another team that you've heard, rumored, that would be interested in Bradley Beal? Every example so far that I've seen of this, since the Suns did what they did on Tuesday, has included Milwaukee. So now, you need to get a brand new team into the mix. And that brand new team might not line up in the same way that Milwaukee lined up in terms of assets. Remember, in this reported or just thrown out there rough draft of what a deal might look like, it had Chris Middleton as one of the main pieces going to Miami. And so Miami probably liked that because they were interested in Chris Middleton. Well, now, if Milwaukee's out, you have to have a new team that joins the fray that all of a sudden has the pieces that Miami wants. You now have made it more complicated. Guys, this is why 4, 5, 6-team trades, they don't happen regularly. It's difficult enough to make a 2-team trade happen. It's difficult enough to do a 2-team trade where a player has a no-trade clause. You're now adding more teams, and you're now adding a no-trade clause into the mix. It becomes more complicated. And there are conflicting reports on whether or not Bradley Beal even wants to waive his no-trade clause. And so, sometimes I feel like the room is spinning. Sometimes I feel like I don't know which way is up and which way is down. There is so much information that is being thrown out there right now. Oh, this team might be interested. Oh, this team might want to move this salary. Oh, this might. You just got to take a step back and you got to wait this out but you also need to look at it realistically. And what is the most realistic outlook right now when looking at this situation? Bradley Beal's contract is unattractive. Bradley Beal's no trade clause is an obstacle. Bradley Beal's availability is a question mark. Did he not play last night because they were working on a trade, or did he not play last night because of an injury? Which one was it? Certainly doesn't look like it's because of a trade, right? Certainly doesn't look like it's because that they're close to a deal. Looks like it's because of the ankle again. And so if you're a team that is interested in this, if you're a team that wants to go down this road, you look at this and go, I have to take on another 2 years at $50 million. I have to take on a guy who is going to miss a bunch of time. And what are you giving me to do that? Why do you think we have been on this from the get-go of how difficult this is? And everybody after Tuesday, and myself included, because you can see it on my Twitter account, Chris Schubert _. The moment that the Suns did what they did on Tuesday, I tweeted out, this means there's more coming. Because I just connected the dots. You don't move the 2031 unprotected first unless you've already got a bunch of other stuff lined up ready to go. Unless you're ready. Maybe they're not as ready as we thought they were. Maybe they didn't exactly have something lined up. So you have to find a suitor for Bradley Beal. You have to find a place that Bradley Beal, and let's be honest, I wouldn't fault Bradley Beal in the slightest. He has no reason to do the Suns any favors right now. He has zero obligation to the Phoenix Suns because they are showing zero obligation to him. They moved him to the bench. They are not shutting down any trade rumors that are out there surrounding him. So if he wants to make this difficult, if he wants to say, you know what, I'm good. I'm not going to waive the no trade clause at all. I like it here. I like living in Scottsdale. I like living in Phoenix. I like the weather. My family likes it here. I like the salary. I like the $50 million. I'm not going to go someplace else. I'm not going to go someplace that might be cold. I'm not going to go someplace where I'm not going to win. I'm good. I'm content. Because everyone goes, oh, why wouldn't he? Team's making him feel unwelcome. Okay. Getting paid $50 million. I'll take a guess. Bradley Beal probably has a really nice house. Probably has a really nice lifestyle. He doesn't need to upset that apple cart just to make Matt Ishbia happy, just to make the Suns a better basketball team. He doesn't owe them that obligation. Again, they're not really doing him any favors right now. He doesn't have to do them any favors because it is in his contract. The no trade clause is in his deal. And the Suns, when they traded for him, took this on. They took this responsibility on. And so that's part one. Part two is making sure Miami's happy because we're going to talk about this in hour number two. They suspended Jimmy Butler again. He got another 2-game suspension because he missed a team flight. He was late to the team flight. We'll dive into what that whole situation is about, and it is a warning sign. I will tell you that right now. It is a big warning sign. That coming up in hour number two of the program. But you then also have to make Miami happy. And I'm here to tell you, Pat Riley does not look like a guy that feels any real obligation to do this in a hurry. He probably would like to rid himself of this cloud that is hanging over his organization right now between now and February 6th. He would like that to be done. But has he shown an urgency? He needs to do what is right for the Miami Heat organization. And if he does not feel like he is getting value back for Jimmy Butler right now, because remember, there's that rumor out there, that report out there, that Jimmy has threatened to opt into his deal next year to help to facilitate a trade. So if Pat Riley knows that, and he knows he's ultimately going to trade Jimmy in the summer because he knows he's going to opt in and he's not going to lose him to free agency, Pat might call the bluff. He might say, I'm not trading you between now and February 6th unless I get what I want. And if I don't get what I want, maybe my needs will change, my wants will change in the summer, but I'll wait until the summer. This is a mess. And yet it feels all roads lead back to one thing and one thing only. Can you find a place for Bradley Beal? We've talked about this week how interesting it's been that the Suns haven't gone to Bradley Beal to get him to waive his no-trade clause. They haven't presented anything to him. I don't think it's interesting or weird anymore. It's very clear. They haven't gone to Bradley Beal to get him to waive his no-trade clause. They haven't embarked on those conversations because there's no conversations to have. There's no team willing to take on that contract. There's no team willing to take on the no-trade clause. There's no team willing to take on the availability issue with Bradley Beal. There's nobody. And so if there's nobody, then there's no Jimmy Butler. There's no fixing this Suns roster. And if we get to a point where February 6th comes and goes and Bradley Beal stays on the Phoenix Suns and Jimmy Butler stays on the Phoenix Suns, we might look back on the decisions that the Suns made on Tuesday, January 21st, to trade their 2031 unprotected pick as one of the biggest mistakes in franchise history. If they do not get this done and they don't get a postseason run this year with Jimmy, who cares if they do it in the summer? Who cares if they do it down the road? If they made the move that they made on Tuesday, which was clearly an indictment of where they wanted to go, that they wanted to get this done because they wanted to give it a run this year. If they waste that opportunity, we talked about them setting themselves back a decade by trading for Jimmy Butler. They might have set themselves back just as much with what they did on Tuesday.